Hello, everyone.
Welcome on into ClayShareCon Day 1. I'm Jessica Putnam-Phillips, the founder of ClayShare and ClayShareCon. So I'm really excited because we have Bud Martin joining us from Speedball. And a few years ago, I was lucky enough to take a tour of the Speedball factory. And I have been talking about it to everyone for years since I did it. And I'm thrilled because Bud's going to take us through a factory tour today and answer any questions you might have about Speedball products. Now, many of you know how much I love Speedball's underglazes, and I've been using them for years now. My underglaze test plate, this is one of my favorite things for references. It's all the new Speedball underglazes and my favorites on here so that I can see them at a quick glance. But they also make all kinds of things, you know, bats and wheels and tools, and of course Speedball's printmaking and so many other things out there. So we're going to throw it over to Bud, and he's going to take us through the factory. If we lose connection, because the factory's huge, it's giant, it's enormous. My whole town could fit inside this factory. So if for some reason we lose connection, we'll just come back to me for a minute while we connect back again with Bud. So here we go. Hey, Bud.
Good morning or afternoon.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm glad everybody could join us today.
We're so thrilled to have you.
So we're gonna. I'm starting right outside. It's a nice kind of cloudy but warm day in North Carolina, and we're in Statesville, North Carolina, which is kind of right in the center of the state, north and south, and east and west. Really, we're right up the interstate from Charlotte, about 45 minutes. So. Our facility is building is about 240,000 square feet, and everything that we have, all the Speedball operations are here. Marketing, customer service, manufacturing, the warehouse, and everything is right here. We've been, very fortunate, and we're now. I was telling people 80. Now we're at 90 people here. So you was probably like closer to 60 when you were here, Jessica.
Probably.
So I'm going to flip this camera around if I can, which it seems strange here today. Here we go. Sorry about that.
See folks are only a few hours from you. You might get requests for in-person tours.
Well, we've certainly done that. We are still in I'm taking my mask off, but at least in this week, we're still in a mask required zone. So it's our lobby and nice photographs. And of course, we are an art manufacturing company. So there's art on all the walls, ceramics, prints. So customer service is located in this area. There's 5 or 6 folks in there. More art everywhere. We have such a great relationship with professional artists and teachers that we get samples and collect. So each of our offices have our own personal collection. I'm going to walk through the canteen. So we're going to start as I kind of walk through the plan. I'm going to kind of focus on the ceramics category, but you'll see some other things. So if you say, you know what that is, you can ask me, but I'm not really going to spend much time. But this is kind of the area where we do a lot of metal stamping for the pens.
So we have a question right off the bat. Do you have a retail store at your location?
No, we don't. We're really not set up to handle really retail sales. We typically have always sold generally to distributors and retailers. We're doing a little bit of direct sales to customers through Amazon now, but we don't have a retail store here. We have about 5,000 finished goods here.
Is that what we're seeing right now in all these boxes?
Well, no. So this is mostly packaging for manufacturing, which is, with during this COVID time has been a real challenge. We try to order a jar and they say, okay, it'll be 6 months before you get it. And we, scramble to try to find something that'll work. And then when we can find it, we buy a lot of it. So we've got the, this is all just packaging here. And I kind of walk back a little bit to the main.
And we might, like I mentioned, lose Bud every once in a while because it is a giant factory. The internet connection, since
this live, can be a little spotty. So we're just gonna bear with it, and we'll get him back. Every once in a while you cut out, but we're good. No, we're good. You're back. You cut out for a tiny bit, but
it looks like you're back now.
Okay.
I have sound. We have sound, not quite picture yet. So we're going to work on getting picture back. We got picture back here.
Okay.
Yeah. And now we don't have sound. Well, we'll stay with the picture. Now we're getting sound. Yep, I can hear you. It's a little laggy and tinny, but that's the internet.
Let me see if I can go. We were working on this a little bit yesterday. You just cut off my.
All right, so we'll.
I guess we'll cut to me. I can hear Bud and see it perfectly. How is the picture out there for everybody? I see folks are putting in 3,000 miles from them to come to the factory. A little bit of a trip, yeah.
Everybody's putting in Statesville in their Google Maps now, right?
They are. So at a question
3,000 miles. It's got to be the Northwest or something.
Yeah, that's a haul. A question about your manpower that you have. Are you having a staff shortage, or is this your normal amount of employees that you have right now?
Actually, well, that's actually up.
That's up. Yeah, because you said 30, right?
No, we've been, 60, 65.
Sorry,
yeah. 60, so we've added,
30.
Up in the last several years. So, yeah, we're up, trying to, handle some of the orders that have been, we've been selling online. Requires more people in the shipping operation. But our, manufacturing's up. So we've been really fortunate. I mean, there are, of course, everybody's posting jobs, you can see at the fast food restaurants and all the manufacturing plants in Statesville have signs out front. But we've, been really fortunate. We pay a good wage, and we've got, a long history. The Speedball brand, goes back to hunt manufacturing, and they moved to Statesville in 1957. So, there are people who work here, whose parents worked here, whose grandparents worked here for hunt. So we have a very good reputation as a great place to work in Statesville. So we've been really fortunate to with our workforce. We will have a few come and go, but I think we're doing a lot better than other people in the area as far as maintaining good workers.
So what are we seeing there?
So in this area here is where we do the assembly of the pottery wheels. So there is some pre-assembly that's done on the wheels in China, but when we bring those in here, we do all the final assembly here and the all of the testing. So we're waiting on some product now, but we've already got, this is a shelf full of motors for clay bosses, several hundred, and they're working on getting testing all the foot pedals now and getting those wired and ready for assembly also. So when we're busy building wheels, we have 2 people in here and maybe 32 or so wheels on the table. So we'll do all the final assembly here, fine tuning, all the testing. We run all the wheels for about an hour or so just to make sure everything's good, and then get them all packaged and ready to ship.
And you also make the Artista wheel as well. So you have
That's right. Yeah, this is kind of,
and then you have the Artista wheel.
Yeah, we have the clay
I
boss.
love that little wheel.
and the Big Boss and the Big Boss Elite, which are all, floor models, and then the Artista is a tabletop, but can be, put on like this picture, can be put on the legs that we have, and you can sit. So it has a lot of flexibility.
So is that
There was certainly a lot of. Oh, you lost me again.
No, I'm seeing you. I'm just.
Okay.
I can see. I don't know.
Okay.
Did we lose them? Hold on. We're good.
Okay. So this is where we do all the mixing of the glazes and our inks. We use the same equipment. I'm not sure if we're running any glazes today, but we've got 3 people that work here mixing inks and glazes. We use these, Cal. This is a brand new machine we just actually cranked up, I think, this week. So we use this kind of Cal's blade, dispersing blade, and we'll make batches in the 40 to 60 gallon size range. And they've got they'll keep the formulas out here as they're making them. It's just kind of like a recipe. They'll check off the materials as they put them in there, and then after they mix them in these, usually in a plastic tub or these stainless steel tubs, they'll kind of stay on this side of the wall until we do.
So they
the quality.
sit out. They're just open right now? They just sit out
with plastic. We put a plastic
there's a piece of plastic
film
on top.
over the top,
Oh,
to
I
keep it
see.
from
Drying
most
out.
of the inks are fairly warm as they're mixed. They put a lot of energy as they're mixing those, but not so much with the glazes. So this is actually a clear earthenware glaze in this batch. So we'll kind of keep all of the production on this side of the wall after it's made until it passes all of the quality tests. So for glazes, we're typically checking the viscosity, making sure that it's the right consistency. And then we'll fire a sample on a chip or a tile or a bead or something in the kiln. We'll fire every batch to make sure that the color is correct. So I've got a couple of big L&L kilns, but typically when I'm just firing a couple of small pieces, I've got a little Scut Glaze Tech kiln that I can fire all the way to cone 10 here. So we'll bring those batches in, check the viscosity, fire them in the kiln. And then the next morning after the kilns cool down and we check the color, we'll actually, and I'll take it to the lab in just a sec, but after we know that it's going to pass all the quality inspections, then we run the whole batch through this vibratory sieve just to sieve out any, large particles. You can probably see the screen.
Oh, yeah.
Sieve. So we'll pour the whole batch in there with the big hoist. It comes out here back into a drum, and that thing just sits there and vibrates like crazy and gets all the, larger particles that may have been in any of the raw materials.
So we have a few questions. Folks were asking, have you had any of the supply shortages that other people have had with either bottles or raw ingredients?
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we kind of got ahead of it. And so packaging has been an issue. I don't think it's affected anything in ceramics. There have been some raw materials in glazes that have been hard to find, and in some cases, the people, they just shut down. So one of the gums we had to change, and just I'm hearing yesterday that Zerkapak's brand is no longer around, and the main talc that's used in primarily in our it's just used in our stoneware clear now, but that talc everybody had to change several years ago from this talc that came from the Northeast to the Texas talc, and now I understand that it's not available. So we'll be busy in the lab getting samples in and making sure that we can find a qualified replacement. that's been a big challenge with inks and mostly inks, not so much glazes until yesterday. That materials or companies just have shut down, or they've been consolidated, bought out by another company, and they've decided not to manufacture or mine a certain product anymore. So that's definitely a challenge.
Folks are asking, where is everybody? Where's all the workers?
Yeah, so it's what time is it?
12:46.
Well, it's after lunch. So in this area we have there was just a couple of people mixing. You'll see most of the other people. So there's usually just a couple of people mixing. We'll have a few people in the lab. Most of the people will be in the area where we're actually doing the filling, and then of course in the shipping. So we'll walk into the lab, which is where all of where is everybody? They must have, maybe they're camera shy. I'm not sure.
Did everybody run and hide? They found out you were
It's
doing
not-
the tour and they're all hiding?
Maybe.
Wow. So they do have 90 employees there, and it is a busy place.
I've
been
been
there,
and
and there's a lot of folks working there. But
I
I think right now
a
a lot of people are camera shy.
I know when I went and I did film and take some pictures, and a lot of the folks didn't want to be on camera, and so they would ask me not to film them, or they'd step to the side, and I respected that, and I didn't film them. So I think what's happening is a lot of folks have kind of ducked out of the way. So we lost you for a sec, but we got you back now.
Okay, you got me back. Okay. So this is where we do all of the development. We've got our little, let me flip the camera again. Sorry, it just dropped there for a second. Can you see me? Oh yeah, okay. So we'll use, a Brookfield viscometer to check the viscosity. Most of the other tests in here are for printmaking inks. We'll check pH, and just like we do with glazes, where we fire every batch, we also, if it's a printmaking ink, we print every batch to make sure that it prints. But this is kind of a fun, colorful picture here. They're all a bunch of test beads of all the batches that we've made of under glazes. So we'll take a look at it with the clear glaze and without a clear. And then of course every batch has.
Can we share? I'm sorry. What?
Code.
Can you go? Can you share the box again? It looks like we.
Oh yeah.
If
Lost
you don't
it?
mind. Yeah, thanks.
Sure.
So just a sec.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So these are all batches of test firings of the underglaze, and you can see the clear and the area where we left the clear off.
Yeah. So one half has clear, and the other's just the underglaze by itself.
Yeah, and I'm typically
That's a really great resource.
Just buying beads, to test those with. That makes it easy. If I'm looking to do if I'm looking for a particular result, or if I've got a customer who's got a particular issue or some question, then I may go buy that clay and either, throw some pieces myself, or I've got an extruder. I can just extrude some little cylinders to fire and see if we can, resolve the issue. But each batch has a 5-digit code that we assign to it, and it's printed on the label of the jar. And we keep a sample. These are all ink sample retains. We'll keep a sample, and these are samples of glazes in here. We'll keep a sample, 2-ounce sample for at least 2 years. So if we've got a customer who's got a question about a particular batch, we can go right back to that batch if it's within 2 years, and test it and inspect it. And we also keep a file of once the mixers are through with the formulations, any notes, peculiarities, irregularities they've found as they made it, they'll make notes. So we keep all of that on files, in case it's rare that we run into anything, but it's something that we want to, be able to respond to customer inquiries or any issues that they may have. And so we have a couple small lab mixers in here, but it basically a smaller unit, like outside. So we would test and develop any color in here and make them and test them in the kiln before we ever finalize a formula and put it in production.
And do you test everything in the kiln to cone 10? Like you do low fire,
No.
mid-range, and then cone 10?
No, I usually do when the color's first developed, but when we're doing just standard production, I'm just firing to low fire, cone 0506. But I have test fired, because we typically, really all of our underglazes, we used to say were good 06 to 6, but we knew that people were firing them, to cone 10 or would firing them to 12, even our red. So I did make some samples that we've used in some marketing just to show what the color looks like, because some of them will shift when you get that high cone 10. So we'll leave the lab. We'll walk out into the packaging area. So there's, we changed all the labels on the underglazes and have these nice labels that kind of match up pretty close to the color of the glaze when it's fired. Those are the 16 ounce and these are the 2 ounce.
People are loving the fact that you changed your pint-sized jars to the wide mouth.
Yeah, it's when we came out with them, we had feedback that teachers, instructors will love these, small bottle tops. They can just squeeze out for each student what they need. But of course, if you have any left over, it's difficult to put it back in the jar. So, we were, went back to this, taller jar. I mean, the one thing about the jar is the jar is bigger than 16 ounces and we put 16 ounces in it. So we do get, some people say, oh, you cheated me out of the, they aren't filled all the way to the top. There is about an inch of head space there, but it is 16 ounces.
Right.
And it also gives some room because people like to thin them down. Our underglazes are a little bit thicker. So it gives you some room in the bottle to add some water if that's what you'd like to do.
And the wide mouths are great for putting your brushes in to work directly out of the bottle if you want to, as opposed to the little one. I still have plenty of the other bottles with the skinny mouth, the older ones, because I have colors I don't use a lot. And they still are great. It's just they don't have that great big wide mouth.
Yeah, and then it looks like they've been filling some little 2 ounce bottles. I see some on the line.
There they are.
I think they must have got just to the end of the color run. So
folks would love to see the actual run going.
Yeah.
I know. Maybe we could do something at some point. We could record something and show a few things and put it up later at another date. Not today, but maybe some other time.
I'll walk back by here one more time at the end, before the end. So once we
catch people working.
Yeah. You can see some people out in this area. We do have a lot of machines and a lot of equipment, but it doesn't all run at the same time. So, you'll see some things idle. So there's a lot of cross training that goes on. So,
hey, there's people.
especially, while this line's down, maybe over a changeover, then while one person's changing it over, the people who are packing it on the end, they may go to another part of the building and work on another job until they get the machine ready to start back up. So, I see that they're filling some ink over here. It's not much different, but these are just little small 2 ounce jars of India ink. Kind of coming through
So the underglaze process filling the bottles would be really similar.
Yeah, really similar.
A different product going through.
Yeah, it looked like there were 4 heads that we were filling those little 2-ounce underglazes. So after a batch is all approved, it's been fired, the viscosity's correct, we've run it through the sieve, then we bring these tubs and drums out here, and they're ready to be filled in production. So nothing comes on this side of the wall until they've met all the quality specs. We put the quality approval ticket in the batch. So
you don't have seconds, like that's it, first or nothing, right?
oh yeah. No, there's no seconds. And this is a little 1/4 ounce jar of ink that we're filling here.
I love seeing the process of how things are made. I think we forget often how much work goes into making the products that we use. And so it's really great seeing this part of it, the fact that there's people making this, even though we're seeing some ink, it's the same thing for the underglaze. You're seeing people working and making the products that you use. And it just is really nice to have that connection to where it came from.
Yeah, it really brings it home. I mean, I've been working in manufacturing my whole career, and yeah, when you see it, and especially when you see the volume, you see, 5 batches of red underglaze being made at one time. You're like, wow, that is a lot of jars of underglaze. I mean, on one piece, there's not that much product that goes in on it. So you kind of think, wow, there are a lot of, artists using these products. And this is some packaging area, mostly for printmaking here. They're putting in the fabric into a screen. Of course, there's certainly a number of people who are screen printing our underglazes also.
How many square feet did you say it was?
240, roughly.
240,000 square feet.
Yeah.
I was not kidding. My town would fit inside that factory.
A lot of room. So this is our paper converting operation. So we're bringing in stacks of paper or rolls of paper and converting them to pads or rolls of tracing paper, marker. This is marker paper, watercolor paper, printmaking paper.
So we had a question. What happens if you have a glaze that doesn't meet standards, and do you have a lot that don't meet the standards?
No.
And why would they?
Yeah. So really, unless a mixer just completely pulled the wrong raw material and put it in, we don't really have any problems. I would say that on the underglazes, the ones that the more difficult ones are the ones that use multiple stains to achieve a color. So if you've got one color, like the red, we're going to use this red stain, unless they completely pull the wrong frit or something, there's not going to be anything that goes wrong with that batch. But some of those, colors, particularly in some of the new colors that came out, they may be a combination of a few stains. And if for some reason there's some variation in the batch of the stain, or, they put an extra, 1/4 pound of one color in it or something, if that's the case, then, we would work in the lab to correct the color and fire it, and adjust again and refire it until we got the color just right, before we would release it for production. But I mean, I should knock on wood when I say that, but I mean, I'm not sure that we've ever really had a glaze that we've, completely had to just, throw away.
Thank you.
So now we're kind of getting to the finished goods warehouse, where we have all these, 5,000 different products. and we ship to maybe a little over 60 countries around the world.
So you have on your website a list of distributors there, and what countries that the product's available in, correct? So people could go
Yeah,
to
and
speedball.com. And
yeah, there's a where to buy. I mean, I'm not sure that on the ceramic
Speedball
side, yeah, speedballart.com. There's probably not wide distribution of the glazes internationally, mostly because they're so heavy and dense. People really don't want to pay to ship those materials.
I know
there's
Clayscapes
some
Pottery
other.
sells them, so they have them, and Clay King Ceramics has them as well. So those are two places I know of right off the top of my head that carry Speedball.
Sure, I would say, yeah. There's I'm not sure
There's
they would have
there's
all
many.
Yeah, there's a lot.
There's a lot, and then we are doing a discount. There's a discount through Clayscapes Pottery right now. So if you want Speedball under glazes, there is a discount, and clear glaze, I believe they have that as well.
Okay.
So
this is where we're packaging. So we have people on these pickers, and they're going through the warehouse picking each of the individual orders, and then we're packing them up here. So there's some full skids of product going to stores.
All those underglazes are coming to me.
Distributors, right? Probably get a skid of underglazes. And then there's some that just individual art stores all around the country. This is going to California. I always love to look at them just to kind of see where
everything.
Colorado, California, Virginia, another California. Somebody's getting a new splash pan for their wheel, and it's going to Virginia. So we do have,
splash pans on the way.
Yeah. So we do have, some, replacement parts. If you're looking to replace a splash pan, I know some of the really old creative industry wheels had a black splash pan that was pretty flexible and easily to break through the years. And even before we bought them 14 years ago, when we bought Creative, they had already made a change to a more rigid splash pan. But there's still people who are still upgrading those old wheels with splash pans. And of course we have motors, foot pedals, control boards, wheel heads. But we don't have all the parts for the really old creative industry. Usually we can figure out parts into one of those wheels. So this is also part of the warehouse, another huge building. You probably won't find any pottery wheels out here because they are going out the door as soon as they are made.
As soon as they're made. Pottery wheels are in demand.
Yeah, they are. There were a lot of folks who took up ceramics during the shutdown, for sure. Really, all art materials. I think the art industry was certainly pretty fortunate there.
I think it's one of the upsides. We all kind of got back to making things with our hands and got more creative again, and I think it's
for sure
a good thing.
Hunkered down.
Right.
So let me see. Oh, so the other product is the bats that we sell, and
yes.
Most of those are not the masonite and the other materials. Medex we work with a sawmill north of town to do that, but all of these big boxes here are full of skids of bats there. And hold on, I'll show you the other. So actually in the back of the building, there's another company called, well, I don't need to tell you the name, but there's another company back there that does injection molding. And they actually do some injection molding for us, and they manufacture all the plastic bats using our tooling. Again, going back to creative industries, but all of those.
He's beeping at you. Don't get run over.
Yeah, I don't want to get run over. We're very fortunate also, I knock on wood as I say that, we've got a really good safety record here. We've never really had any major industries. It's usually, you know, somebody slipped on ice in the parking lot, or you know, somebody had didn't use proper lifting techniques and wrenched their back. Never anything serious. And I think our record was 496 days in a row without any workplace injuries. So that's
great.
That's really good for that
that's
many
really
people.
good.
And we've also never had a layoff.
That is very good.
Yes, and that's one of the
That
things
is
where
very,
I
very
was
good.
I was talking to our president of the company yesterday, and he's like, you know, he's almost to the retirement age, and he says, I want to make sure when I retire, I can still say that we've never had a layoff.
Well, you've in fact added employees in the last few years.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
the opposite for you.
Yeah, and I've been here 17 years, and the business is about 4 times the size.
Wow.
Yeah, and in sales dollars, and we're probably 2.5 times the size in people.
So a few people are asking, are you hiring?
There's usually always a job or two here
maybe?
to fill.
All right.
You know, it may be entry level, but we've certainly, you know, we've got a new chemist starting next Monday. We're interviewing a human resources manager now, I understand, and I'm not sure what else. I think we had a few new people just start this week in production. I saw them interviewing somebody in shipping this morning. So yeah, we're still
that's wonderful.
Still growing.
That's
it's
a great
we're
thing.
very
Yeah.
fortunate.
So
Yeah.
good. So what are we seeing now?
So this is still some filling. I think I was going to show you. It seems like most everything is kind of in a changeover mode, but this is a new tube filling machine, mostly for ink, that we just got a year or so ago. So this is taking
That
ink
is
and
very interesting.
putting in a tube. And this machine can also do the aluminum tubes also, and fold the creases instead of heat sealing the edges. So I'm just gonna see if I could find a sample, because I just want people to know, you know, if you have if you ever have a question, we get the questions now, especially with access, is we get people, you know, asking us questions through our retailers, through Amazon, through Instagram, through email, or through a phone call. So they can reach us a number of different ways. But I wanted to show you, I don't have it on the Glaze, but show you kind of where the batch number is. So near the UPC number is a 5-digit number. This one, well, there'll be the part number, but then there's a 5-digit number is the batch number. So the 2 represents 2022, and the 1 represents the first quarter of 2022. And then the last 3 numbers are just a running number. So if we have that 5-digit number, we can go back to the lab, we can pull the retain, we can pull the paperwork when they made the product. We'll test fire it. Like I said, I've bought, you know, various clays to try to duplicate problems that folks have had. You know, there's a lot of obviously a lot of things can go wrong, and fit and the firing and the application. So, you know, sometimes tracking down exactly what's going on can be difficult.
So if somebody has an issue with a product, they can reach out to you as long as they have that code, and you can help them with that.
That's usually the first thing we'll ask. You know, can you give us the batch code? And then folks in customer service kind of will be the first line of contact. But they've all been trained in our products. But if it's something that they can't do or answer, then it will come to somebody like me or some of the other chemists or engineers here.
And if
This is kind of
somebody
where we do a lot.
oh, I'm sorry to interrupt. If someone has a
No,
problem
go
with an
ahead.
old clay boss from Creative Industries, would you be able to help them out if they reached out to you?
In most cases, yeah, Ramento, who's in our customer service group, can help them. Some of those we may not have the right belt, but we could help you find that belt or give you some information to find it outside. We got some materials, some parts that were on those really old wheels, like they had a different style of splash pan, and we've got a box of those here on those old HP MP Creative Industries wheels. So there's some of those we still have parts, but if you've got like a motor, we don't have that exact motor, but we can help you to accommodate one of our newer motors and electrical boxes to fit those also.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so this is where we do a lot of the finished packaging of pins. These are all boxes of the various styles of calligraphy nibs, which people are still amazed that we make those, but they're all still.
I saw those being made when I was there. I saw all the underglaze being made and everything, but we popped over and I got to see the calligraphy nibs and how they were being made, and spoke with a wonderful woman who'd been there almost 30 years at the time.
Yeah.
So it was really great it was really a great experience. So if folks live somewhere and there's not a Speedball distributor, what should they do? Like, should they reach out to their local clay supplier and say, hey, I'd like to be able to get Speedball products? Do you ever think of carrying them? Or how does someone become a distributor for y'all?
We would love for that to happen. Although we're, I don't know, 16 years in the glaze business here, we were still the new guy, right? So a lot of those, independent ceramic suppliers, were hesitant to bring in new materials, or they didn't have shelf space in their, retail shops. But yeah, we would love to draw the demand from, potters that, requesting it for sure.
Well, I do know that, we as a customer drive a lot of what a company carries. So if we go to our local clay supplier and say, hey, I'd really like to have Speedball's products, they'll look into it. So that's what I've found.
Sure.
So we make the difference, us watching. So
absolutely.
Who's out there listening,
oh, absolutely. Absolutely. When we go in that first time 16 years ago, they don't know Speedball from Adam. Maybe they used some of our, products when they were in school, but not, on the ceramic side. So for sure, that driving that demand from the customer is very helpful. So
we've got
that's a most
1
of
minute.
the tour.
Don't want to make
Yeah.
So that's the factory. It's really, really great. I've been there when it was operating. You could see a lot of things going on. And like I mentioned earlier, if you happen to be in the area, you could reach out and see if they can accommodate you for a tour. So
Sure.
I see folks are really loving it. Question about glazes. Do you have certain brands of glazes you recommend more for using with your underglazes? Speedball. Clear glaze.
Well, yeah. I would, because some of them, they don't always play well together. So I've got a pot. I was showing someone yesterday that I made, and I put our underglaze around it and probably put 5 or 6 different clears over the top, and some were nice and some completely changed the color even though it was a clear. So I'd say if you're not going to use Speedball clear, definitely do some testing. And certainly there are people making their own clears that that work well, but test
test. That's always the rule. One more question I want to ask is, we
Sure.
did just have a demo on with wonderful Kathy Skaggs, and she was making her own easy screens, silk screens. Do you have anything like that at Speedball that people can make their own silk screens? She was doing a solar one that you just exposed to sunlight. I don't know if I lost you.
Oh, so let me step out.
Right when I asked the
there?
question. Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
So
You
you
got me?
do
Okay.
have silk screen. You do have silk
mean-
screen products. Do you have anything? You
Yeah.
have kits and stuff for folks to
We
make
have-
their own.
we have kits to make their own, and we just recently came out with a product called Speed Screen. So a traditional
Speed screen.
method of making a screen would be you mix this 2-part emulsion, then you have to coat the emulsion on the screen, let it dry in the dark before you ever expose it. And the Speed Screen is kind of a pre-coated screen. Now it's not in a frame, which for some people in ceramics they like, because
That works.
you might be able to take that screen then and
Speed screen.
and wrap it around the around a curved surface and be able to apply some underglaze through it. So that's and our underglaze, I mean, it's a 110 mesh, 110 lines per inch in the thread count. So our underglaze, will go through that, no problem.
Fantastic. So
Speed
that's
screens.
Speed Screen that Speedball has. So I think but have to wrap it up. We got to say goodbye because we got to move on
Sure.
to the next. We're limited. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Well, y'all have a big day.
Thank you so much. It looks gorgeous there today. I
Sure.
wish I was in North
Yeah,
Carolina.
The
I
clouds
might be.
are
I might
breaking
be
up.
down in March for a quick visit. We'll talk. See.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right.
All
Thanks
right.
a bunch,
Welcome.
Bud.
So that was Bud Martin from Speedball. He's the Director of Research and Development. So if you want to reach out to Bud, you can do that. And if you have questions for him, he will gladly answer your questions. Wind is picking up. I hope we're not. I don't think we're going to have any problems with our connection, but it's a little crazy here, having some storms moving through. But fun to see the factory. I love Speedball's product. Now they're doing a giveaway. We're going to have $100 credit for products through Speedball. And actually, I'm checking my information, and it looks like we're doing that every day. So you get $100 credit for Speedball products. And so we'll have that at the end of the day. We're drawing one of those every day. So yay, Speedball. If you haven't tried their underglazes, I came first to Speedball because I was a student and they were affordable and they gave me great color payoff. So I really love their product, but there's a lot of other things they make other than underglazes, so check them out. All right, so we got to move on in to our next demo. So we'll be back at 1:30, and we're going to have Michael Harbridge from Learn Fired Arts, and he's going to be doing a stamping on pottery tutorial. So be sure to come on back. We'll see you.